Oi, oi, oi. Testing one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. When the three over down the river swim, women go fishing, we catching a brim. When the river's high, we jump off the bridge. When we get home, we play some digit. When the three over down the river swim, women go fishing, we catching a brim. When the river's high, we jump off the bridge. When we get home, we play some digit. They call me Wally, this is our man.
Up until 6 months ago, you probably only knew about Wilcannia thanks to that song by 5 Indigenous teenagers that almost made the top 50 of Triple J's Hottest 100 in 2001. But something very significant happened in this remote community in 2021, and everyone who cares about the sovereignty and health of First Nations people needs to be aware of it. COVID hit Wilcannia in August, and it was front page news. Not just in local outlets like the ABC and The Guardian, but it even reached the Washington Post in the United States. The key theme of the coverage was a lack of preparedness by the government. This already forgotten town left to fend for itself against an approaching deadly virus. In particular, the concerningly low injection rate of the Indigenous population, tracking well below overall population levels. In fact, by The Guardian's best estimates, when the outbreak first hit Wilcannia, only 20% of the population had been injected once, and 8% twice. It was, in the eyes of our political and health bureaucracy, a recipe for disaster. Yet, something miraculous happened. When the dust settled, the ABC was there to report on the damage, or lack of. All of the 152 people who contracted COVID-19, more than 20% of the town's population, had recovered. Remarkably, only one person had been hospitalised by the virus throughout the outbreak, and they recovered as well. Now, the prevailing theme had turned from fear and dread to surprise and confusion. How had this at-risk, albeit disproportionately young, Indigenous community escaped the wrath of this deadly virus, especially after having been deprived of the necessary top-down medical intervention? In a follow-up investigation, the ABC continued the prevailing narrative of a failure of government, in particular to increase injection rates. In fact, hidden in the second half of their investigation, they confirmed the early estimates of The Guardian that, at the time of the outbreak, the vaccination rate was only 17%. The New South Wales state government were quick to claim success by the end of the outbreak, with a first dose injection rate of over 70%. Yet, given we have been told that only 2 doses provides full protection, and the protection is only conferred after 14 days, it is clear that the majority of the town relied on natural immunity to survive. Now, it is absolutely right for the media to critique the government for their continued failure to protect our most vulnerable, and there should be little doubt that their response in Wilcannia was lacking in many ways. But what is the real story that comes out of Wilcannia? Where are the headlines proudly proclaiming the astonishing strength, resilience, and innate health of the town? These articles should be celebrations, yet instead they are obsessed with recriminations. What if this was the real story? A largely Indigenous remote community, left to fend for itself by the white man in the face of a threat we had told them would destroy them, and doing it without the need for the white man's medicine. Instead, this success was downplayed. Instead, the seriousness of the Wilcannia outbreak, or more specifically, the failure to take it seriously, was used to launch an aggressive and coercive government agenda. In our guilt and paternalism, we unashamedly normalise the denial of the health sovereignty of our Indigenous population.
I come from the Garoa clan group, and I love bush medicine and bush tucker. We got bush medicine here, look, sandalwood. Yeah, that's all I come to tell you.
That's the one you put in your body for
Yeah,
bush
this
medicine?
one I've used even now, this sandalwood.
What about that jabby? You want to put that in your body?
Nah, ain't no good, that jabby make you sick.
True.
Yeah. This fella here, look.
Who would tell you this is the good one?
My old people.
How deep are the implications of the events in Wilcannia? Well, on the 16th of September, smack bang in the middle of the Wilcannia outbreak, the ABC published a story on the push from Queensland elders to fight vaccine hesitancy. It featured Uncle Bevan, a much loved and respected local magistrate and proud Waka Waka man. 6 days later, the ABC published another article about Uncle Bevan. In this article, there was little attention given to the circumstances of Uncle's tragic death, aside from it being believed that he suffered a heart attack. There was certainly no mention of the fact that less than a week earlier, he had been publicly vaccinated to encourage his community to do likewise. Just a horrible coincidence? Or a horrible oversight by the ABC to not even see it as worthy of linking the two events, nor to properly investigate it? And if it was an oversight, how many more such cases have we missed that weren't captured, even if only by accident, by our mainstream media and our politicians?
So I went and had the first one of Pfizer. I had headaches, sore arms, nausea, very fatigued. That lasted for about a week, and then I started to feel half normal. After I had the second injection, 3 days later, I ended up presenting at accident and emergency with pains in the chest, heart palpitations, going off tap. Basically, I was kept there for
Here's a question for anyone who currently supports our country's approach to COVID-19. How can we hope to leave racism behind when those who proclaim it loudest have been so oblivious to the nature of the oppression they are carrying out or consenting to? Denying Indigenous people the right to move freely across their own land, have full access to employment and social services, to not have their health sovereignty questioned, simply because they would rather not take your experimental injection? So, perhaps a better question to be asking: just who are the real white supremacists here?
When we go fishing, we catching a brim. When the river's high, we jump off the bridge. When we get home, we play some deep. When the three over down the river and swim. When we go fishing, we catching a brim. When the river's high, we jump off the bridge. When we get home, we play some deep. 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 When the three over down the river and swim. When we go fishing, we catching a brim. When the river's high, we jump off the bridge. When we get home, we play some deep.